Okay, all right, Tracy. So we're pretty much ready to go. Christine Medina from the CM brand. I think she's running a little bit late, but I see no reason why we can't start.
Okay. Well, welcome everyone to the January 6th, 2021 Communications and Public Relations Committee meeting. It is currently 7:07. Today's agenda was just review all the hard work that Josephine and Dorothy have been doing in the office for the media and social media, or the social media and the newsletter, and then discuss any future committee meeting topics. Josephine, would you like to begin with just talking about the new website?
Sure. So I'll give a few updates. Let me see if there's a way I could share my screen here. Let me see if it will let me. Can you all see that? My screen here?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So I wanted to share with the committee that, I guess it was about a year or so ago where we started Constant Contact e-newsletter blasts. And I'm happy to report that with a lot of good streamlining, we're up to close to 2,000 email subscribers that are, I would have to say, it's been a very positive experience during COVID to have this form of communication. And we've received a lot of positive feedback, especially from seniors who feel a little bit disconnected and are not on social media, but have subscribed to our email and are very grateful for our updates. And what I did today to share with the committee is I sent over the Constant Contact provides a report with each email that is distributed. And it kind of gives you a sense of how many sends you have, what your open rate is and what your click rate is. And I think we have a pretty good open rate at, it varies in the 50s, mid 50s, and a click rate, as high as 64%. And if you can see just the last few. And I think the newsletter email or this email distribution list has kind of evolved from a more formal newsletter to really more of local notifications in a format that we just kind of created with some of the new branding that Christine Medina provided to us. On every email, Constant Contact email, there is a portion at the bottom of the email that encourages subscribers to join our Facebook or Instagram account. And that's been a little bit of a struggle for us in terms of building that up. And I wanted to, maybe we could talk a little bit about it after I just share with you. We started out with 0 people. It took us a while to get to 200. We're currently at 510 people following us on Facebook and 374 on Instagram. I feel we could do better than that. And, my hope is Christine is joining us, but my hope is to really expand that, subscribers to both Instagram and Facebook. So Christine Medina, who is from the CM brand, is joining us now, but we had worked a little bit with Christine on Canva posts, and she provided us with some training. I think we still need a little bit more training to kind of, come up with what types of posts. Pretty much they've been limited to informational posts about upcoming meetings or ASP, alternate side parking, notifications about COVID testing, or things that, require, that we get from city agencies that we feel we could post on social media. But the bulk of notifications, what we've been doing is organizing them in email blasts, because they have a lot of information. It's kind of hard to put all that information in a social media post versus the newsletter. So we worked with Christine. She gave us some Canva training, and she also had helped us with sending some Facebook, I guess I'm not really sure what you call it, but you can pay to reach a larger audience. And so we've done that a few times to kind of broaden our, what is it called, Christine?
Boosting, like you're
Boosting the post. So we've boosted our post. We've picked a few, and it's only a couple of dollars, and you could pick a geographic, area, and you can, pick a population type, and you boost the post. And we've done that, but I think we can do better. And it's just that, with the office, it's been busy, remote working. I'd like to focus some attention and maybe get some ideas from committee members and those in attendance on how maybe we can improve that. We also had our first public hearing during COVID, which was a challenge to make sure that we can bridge the digital divide and notify people of, a pretty large zoning change in the district, or zoning application in the district. And what we have used in the past, which we feel is an effective tool in bridging that divide, is something that the United States Post Office offers in an every door direct mail. And what we're doing now when we do public notices, we add a little tab line on the meeting notice that encourages people to contact the office to be added to our newsletter, and to also sign up to our Facebook or Instagram account. So that now is standard, and that will go out with every notification that's sent from this office. And we do public notice for liquor license applications, for ULURP. We have City Bike coming to Board 10. We're going to be doing a meeting at the end of the month with Jane's Committee, Traffic and Transportation. We're going to be doing a very targeted every door direct mailing, so that to invite people to come to the presentation. I felt a little bit bad that when DOT first notified us about City Bike, they billed it as CB7 with only a few blocks in CB10, telling us that we wouldn't have any stations, but we've come to learn that there will be 7 stations. So we want to make sure we do a public notice. So we'll be doing a mailing so DOT can have an opportunity to give that presentation to our board, even though it's a small portion of the board. So we're really working in the district office to try to meet some of the expansions of our communications network to reach out to a broader public. It's been a challenge during COVID, but we've been really trying to maintain those lines of communication. And lastly, I wanted to just report that you all know that I've not been happy with our website. It is a New York City issue, Department of Information and Technology template type of website. A lot of boards, some boards opt to pay for their own. We prefer working with the city and the Department of Information and Technology. And some time ago, I asked if we could switch to a WordPress based, which is easier to upload updates. And the city is now moving toward that. And we worked this summer on a transition. We have a little hiccup with the calendar that the team at Do It is working on. And we expect to launch the new website within the next month. So I'm very excited about that, to have clearer outlines with the calendar, with links now to our Zoom meetings directly on the website, which is impossible to do on our current website, unfortunately. We're stuck to this email notification with the links, but we're very, and it's very difficult to upload information onto our website, although we really work hard at updating it and maintaining it as current as possible. So those were just my few updates with the committee. I thought maybe it was a good way to segue into thoughts and about what you think about the email distribution. Ideally, I would love to maybe build it to maybe a once a month newsletter that is a little bit more informative, and then like the emails that go along with it. I don't want to overkill, and bombard people that they're fatigued by getting our emails. But I would say overall, I've been very impressed with the newsletter, the capabilities under Constant Contact to reach a very large audience in the district. And we've gotten such positive feedback. The YouTube channel, being live streaming on YouTube, has also been, I think, pretty successful. I went back and looked at some of our viewership, both when we had in-person meetings. So our most successful in-person event was the vaping forum that Community Board 10 held, and it had over 700 views. It's something that's still
Wow.
requested periodically. I'll send out the link. People interested in that topic, they found it to be very informative. When COVID is over, I hope to do more forums like that in the future, because they seem to be very, very popular, and having the ability to live stream, I think, and maintaining that when we go back to in-person meetings, I think is also another positive for people who are unable to attend meetings to be able to view them, either on Facebook or on YouTube. YouTube has worked out for us. It's where we started with the company that we received the original grant from WNET. So we've just maintained the channel, and it seems to be working well for us. So with that, I'll be quiet and hand it back to you, Tracy, for committee discussion.
Well, I was just thinking that going back to the constant contact information sheet that you showed at the beginning, the click rate is very, very good. So I think people are definitely okay with more information. Like it doesn't seem to be overwhelming at the time so far. But I'd be interested to know from the other committee meeting or members if there's any ideas for boosting the Facebook and Instagram membership or following a little bit more. I know that putting it on the newsletter is very effective. I love the direct mail thing. I think that's great. But does anyone have any other ideas about getting it a little bit more out there?
I don't have an idea as of yet, but I actually have a question. When I get the email newsletter, which is great, and I share it with the folks on the block, the mailing list of the folks I have on the block, I received an email back the other day from one person asking how do I join the mailing list so that you don't have to keep on sending them to me? How can I just get them directly? And they couldn't figure it out. And when I tried to look, I couldn't really figure it out either. So
Yeah.
am I missing something, or is there a link that you could send me? And
that's a good question. What we have asked people to do is email us and we add them directly. I don't know if there's a way on if there's a link I could put on to maybe social media where you could, I don't know, Christine, do you know? Christine is here from CM Brand. She's my go-to constant contact and social media expert. Is there a way to do that?
So you want to put a link into the constant
that I
contact?
could share and have people automatically sign up, or a link on our Facebook or social media, or a link I could send out where they can sign up directly? Or is it just best to say email the community board office? That's what we've been doing.
So there's two ways there's three ways. So technically you can do that, right? Or you can, we set up a Linktree account. So you can actually put the link on Linktree account, just send the Linktree account and just say, hey, you can not only can follow us on social media on our Linktree account because it has all the links, but you can also sign up for our newsletter clicking this link. Now, when you need to do that, you need to pretty much create a landing page within Constant Contact. And then that's the link that you're sending to people. So create a landing page, or you can go on your new website that you guys are working on right now and ask them if they can do a pop-up. So anytime someone goes on the website, a pop-up pops up and it pretty much says, hey, sign up for our newsletter here, write your name and your email, and you'll be up to date with all of our newsletters. So there's different ways to go about it, but see what kind of plan you have with Constant Contact, because you're probably able to create a landing page on Constant Contact and send that URL to all of your followers. So you can say, hey guys, if you click this URL, it's going to lead you directly to our landing page where you can put your information in, which is your first name and your email, and you'll be up to date on all of our emails. So there's different ways about it. So
yeah,
just,
I think on our current website, I have, a contact community board 10 if you want to be on our newsletter, and it's a form, and that form comes to me.
Okay, good. Yeah. So that's one way. So just pretty much sending that URL to anyone.
But I like the pop-up idea. Okay.
But the pop-up idea is very important. Like that's how you're getting a lot of traffic through your website, right? Once your website is up to date, launched, and all that good stuff, you'll be getting a lot of traffic to your website because people want to know what's going on. People would like to sign up for your newsletter. So having that pop-up just pop up on the screen the minute they go on your website is very important. And another feature that you guys can add to your website is adding a newsletter box on the bottom of your website. So where the footer is, have a really nice newsletter box where it says, please enter your name and your email here, and you'll be up to date on all of your on all of our newsletters. That's just in case they click out of that pop-up. They exit out of it without even thinking about it. At least when they're scrolling on the page, that pops up, and they're able to sign up for your newsletter.
Okay. Michael, we
Great.
will do that.
Cool. Thank you.
Yeah, I think would be great. Great idea. Does anyone else have any ideas about? I'm still learning how the name or like how things move when it comes to social media and boosting of like all the followers and things. So I'm trying to think of.
Now, Henry had an idea that I have not taken advantage of yet, and that is to share posts. I have to work on that, Henry. Share posts with some of the established larger Facebook groups.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I was also going to suggest expanding network and going into things like Nextdoor. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the Nextdoor app.
Yes.
Site. A lot of concerned citizens and community members, they love to go on that. They usually do it by neighborhoods. So I feel like posting things like that in those networks are great, gains more exposure type of thing, I don't know.
Right.
It's just expanding on where groups and stuff that you mentioned,
Okay.
now that you mentioned groups.
Great, thank you.
Okay.
I was going to say there's a large, already established network of people on Facebook whose specific interest is Bay Ridge. And so if we can just try to, tap into that just by whether it's sharing the posts or advertising the page, we can even do that as individual members of the committee and the board, so that it's not just kind of, Josephine over posting in those groups. But I feel like, the kind of information that we're sharing is the kind of information that those people are looking for,
Okay.
I like that you have the clickable links for Facebook and Instagram at the bottom of the newsletter. I didn't know, like, what I've seen though is that it's often the same information when you go there. So like, for example, like it might have the same post on Facebook that was just in the newsletter. Like, I didn't know if there was anything different or anything more that could be used like on the other platforms.
Right. So the bottom the bottom links to Facebook and Instagram are really to encourage people to like us. Right. So yeah, so that's the only there is commonality in the two. I mean, there's more detailed information in the email blast.
Yeah.
The posts are pretty much quick, like the day before an alternate side parking suspension, or the day before a committee meeting, or a few days before a committee meeting, just blasting it out so people have it in front of them. Oh, there's a board 10 meeting, coming up, and yeah, I'd like to attend it. We had a traffic and transportation. You had your committee meeting yesterday, and we had someone who saw the post and said, I watched it on YouTube. And I didn't send it to you yet because I was just reading it, Jane. And because I have all of these great ideas about Marina 95th. So it is working. It's definitely working. And I just think it could be expanded a bit more. And I think I just, appreciate the ideas, and social media is really not my specialty. And again, I'm working within the parameters of being an agency of the city of New York that has certain, regulatory guidelines and reporting requirements. So I try to be cautious as well. But I think all of the input tonight is very helpful to me.
Josephine, can you hear me?
Yes, Carmen.
Okay. I have a couple of big little ideas. Remember how we had the forms outside to register to vote?
Yes.
Can you do like something outside the window again to sign up for the newsletter? I know
We
the
could do
weather's bad, yeah, but I know the weather's bad, so that might be something, maybe not immediately, but.
Yeah,
a little
maybe in
bit
the
down
spring.
road. Yeah,
Mhm.
and then the link that she was talking about, like partnering with like the bids, the senior center, even sending it out to churches. And because when you presented the thing in the beginning and you said there's like 2,000 people that are signed up, one thing that came to mind, like at the box, to kind of push people to, to put like another extra push to make them sign up, like something like there are like 50,000 people live in Bay Ridge. Only 2,000 have signed up for a newsletter. Don't you want to know what's going on? Just something to show, kind of to connect people, but at the same time to let them know you can be aware of what's happening. Because I'm always like fascinated when my neighbors tell me something that's happening in Bay Ridge and I know it's completely wrong. But and so I have to tell them, no, I'm not on that committee, but this is what's happening. And so one way kind of to dispense a lot of misinformation. And the other thing that's hard with the newsletter, I look at it immediately, but what's sad is it's always like good news, basic news, but I wish we had something that we could report something fun, like one piece of good news, some way, shape, or form.
Yeah, I mean, I had thought about, I mean, initially we had talked about on the committee, there were some ideas about doing a newsletter that maybe had, that kind of reflected, maybe stories like, like perhaps, the street renaming that was, I'm sorry, the park renaming recently, Henry, maybe a little bit of section about Gilberto Sorrentino. Some of the work that the boards does, that's a little bit more involved, more of a narrative, more of a small, informational about some of the work that the board is doing that is interesting, other than notifications of what's happening and what's going around. A little bit more of, for example, we just did the 95th Street, and while we invited people to attend the street improvement proposal for 95th and Marine, maybe we could do a little bit of a story about what's involved, what's an SIP, how does DOT, maybe a little bit more of a story versus a notification. A little bit more of an explanation, how you can get involved. Do you see something on your block, a street condition that you would like to report? I think the reason why we haven't done that thus far is that requires just a little bit more time, and we've just been busy, frankly.
Right.
And I could, I'm more interested in getting those notices out because I feel they're important, but I don't think that's, whether that becomes a quarterly, a quarterly type newsletter, and we can name it something, distinguish the two email blasts versus a informative newsletter type. And I think that's very possible using Constant Contact. I know the Fifth Avenue Bid has just launched a new newsletter, and it's very informative. I think it's going to be a monthly publication. So it's just an idea that I have that I would like to see, that I think would be well received. But we may need maybe some committee members to talk about different topics that they would like. Maybe we could do that. It could be quarterly. It doesn't have to be monthly. It could be more quarterly, something that, we all chip in together and kind of work on. I'll throw it out there.
Well, I know I'm going to go to your office tomorrow and I'm going to get the application to sign up for the newsletter. I'm just always going to keep some in my bag. So when I run into somebody, I'm like, oh, can you fill this out? It's going to be slow, but at least that person may then tell somebody else and, just get it going that way too.
Right. What Carmen is referring to is that the community board has a pamphlet about the community board, and there's a tear off on that pamphlet to sign up for the newsletter. It's something that we printed last year. That's when people come into the office and want information at the board, we provide the handout. The zoning and land use committee is also looking. We had a fellow last year that put together for us zoning 101 for community board members, and for anyone interested in the community. It kind of spells out some of the basics of zoning and some of the basics of zonings here in Community District 10. And that we'll be discussing this month. So we hope to also publicize that. So that might be a future committee topic on how we publicize some of the other good works that we're working on to expand outreach into the district. And then I know the elected official representatives are here too. And we also, we receive emails from your offices, and oftentimes we do share information that you post as well in our newsletter and email.
Thank you. I
Something that
So as soon as
that's
we're
fascinating me of late. Ooh. No, go ahead.
No, I just wanted to let them know, like, as soon as we're situated, because we're still in transition period, we'll definitely give you guys an email back with all of our official government emails and such. So
Great. Thank you, Hanan.
thank you.
Okay, Michael?
I just wanted to just add something. I've been becoming more and more involved with the Brooklyn collection at the Brooklyn Public Library, and what's been fascinating me lately on Facebook is that people are posting more and more older pictures, photos of Bay Ridge years and years ago. But what I was thinking, and maybe it's done already and I'm just not seeing it, is kind of a then and now kind of thing. You take a picture of my house in 1932 and then you post what it looks like now, or another place in, the 1800s and what's there now, a comparison of one thing to the other. And maybe include that as an added funding to the newsletter or to the website. A buddy of mine in Belgium has been really successful with that, doing a World War II then and now, and he has a page where he scours the country and finds pictures from the war and then finds what they look like now, and he's got thousands of people subscribed to this, and they love it. Anyway.
No, I think that's a good idea.
I was thinking about.
Yeah, no, I like that. I like that a lot.
I think that's a great idea. So I was just thinking, Carmen touched on something as far as like making sure that everyone, like local churches or houses of worship, know about the newsletter. Is there a way to contact everyone that's on the current website as resources to make sure that they're aware of the newsletter? On our current website, there's a tab for resources, and it's schools, houses of worship, civic groups, and stuff like that. Just make sure that they're all at least aware that there's a newsletter and have a link when it's available. Yeah, I could definitely do that. We've worked over the past few weeks in updating some important lists. So the board is required to keep an updated organization list, which we have: schools, houses of worship, etc. We've been working to add emails to all of those, during COVID, when we've had to outreach and add them to our newsletter, and we've been calling up and see if there's an interest. So we will definitely do that, because now I think we're at 80%. And then all of our open streets and restaurants in Board 10. Interestingly enough, DOT had asked us for a comprehensive email list, so we put that together as well. And all of those were added to our email distribution list. And I think that a few months ago, we did email those lists, our organization lists, to ask them to sign on to our Facebook and Instagram. So I think we could do that again for our newsletter. Absolutely. Great. I think it would just, just making sure that it's fresh and that everyone's aware of it,
Yeah, because when we first got that newsletter, my pastor let me make an announcement at church at a meeting, and 30 people said, sign me up. So I kept going to Josephine's office with like the people's names and emails. Oh.
It's a really good idea, because whenever we have a very large public hearing, we always do a hard mail, a snail mail letter to all of our houses of worship, and ask that they include that notice in their bulletins, in their weekly bulletins. So perhaps asking them to put in their weekly bulletin, especially during the pandemic, if they would share our contact information, email sign on, like us on Facebook. I'll come up with something and do that. So that's a really good idea.
Yeah.
Great. Does anyone else have anything to add to that?
Well, not for signing people up, but more so for maybe future meetings. I used to work at a nonprofit, the American Bible Society, and when they moved to Philly, I was in charge of like different programs they have. I still have a folder with cards and letters that kids wrote from Brooklyn that they sent to us that went to different firehouses and police stations, and then some of them sent them back, and we used to like keep changing them over 6 months. And so maybe for like a display or even photographing some of them, putting them in the news, like a newsletter or in the window, and maybe telling the kids, oh, like some of them were from the Christian school on 70th Street, like maybe telling them, is this your picture? You can come and get it. I have the original, you know, just something different, you know, something, because this year is the 20th anniversary. So I know
All
it's
right,
way
cool.
down the line.
All right, Colin, when you come by
Uh-huh.
tomorrow, yeah,
Uh-huh.
we could speak about that tomorrow.
Okay, all right.
All right. Does anyone else have any future topics they would like to bring up?
You know,
Well,
while Tracy, while I'm thinking about it, I also attended a meeting of the Bay Ridge Age Friendly Committee, and I don't know if committee members know, but as you all know, during the pandemic, senior centers in the district had to shutter, and leaving a lot of seniors disconnected. But the Bay Ridge Center has an online Bay Ridge Village, which is connecting seniors to different programming, which is pretty exciting. You know, we've shared that in a few of the newsletters, but our next Senior Issues Housing, Health, and Welfare Committee, the Bay Ridge Village will be also posting our YouTube presentation on that meeting. And several of the seniors who participate there have also signed on to recent meetings as a way to stay connected with what's going on in the community. So I thought I'd share that too with the committee members. And I think that's
Oh,
something
that's great.
we can continue. And if you haven't checked it out, you should take a look at it. It's pretty interesting.
Yeah, I get it. They do a lot. There's a lot of classes and a lot of good information. Yeah.
It's like when
All right.
when seniors sign up and receive food deliveries from one of the neighborhood food banks or one of the community centers, and a lot of seniors, of course, don't have access to the internet. Do these services provide printouts that to include with the food packages of what other services are out there? So
Yes.
there could be phone numbers or descriptions and things like that?
Yes, the Bay Ridge Center has, I think it's called the Chatterbox. That is it's a written newsletter that is accompanied with Meals on Wheels. I think it's 800, they have 800, 800 seniors in the district homebound that receive Meals on Wheels in District 10.
Okay, good.
All right. Do you have anything else that you wanted to cover, Josephine?
No, I think that's it. I think we had a good outline of goals this the next few months, starting the new year. Just to sum up, we're going to look out for the new website. When it comes out, I'll make sure the committee knows so you could take a look and see if there are areas that we can improve upon. I look forward to working with Christine Medina in the next few months on improving our social media presence. She's going to be a helping hand there. And I liked some of the ideas with, Nextdoor and with other social media. And if committee members can also help and spread the word, Henry, I think that's an awesome idea to promote our community board social media accounts, both Facebook and Instagram. And I like the landing page, idea. so being that we're in formation with the new website, I'm going to speak to the web designers and see if we could have that added. And then Christine, I'm going to speak to you about Linktree. I'm going to refresh my memory on how to do that.
Yeah.
And then looking at the maybe a quarterly newsletter, we had some good ideas from Michael about, doing some, then and now, and maybe a little bit more informative. And I'll probably reach out to you all, Tracy and Jane and Henry and Michael, for some, maybe some story help. Maybe we could each do a story a quarter. I don't know, just some ideas that I have. And we could certainly talk about that at our next meeting, but I think we have enough to go on here.
Excellent. Well, I think that
Great.
I know myself, I would love to be able to contribute and happy to help out on the quarterlies for sure.
Okay, that'd be great.
All right.
All right. Well, that was
Well-
a great, very informative. Thank you so much, everyone. Tracy, I'll give it back
Thank
to
you, everyone.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Thank you.
everyone.
All right, I
Happy
guess we need a
night.
motion to adjourn.
Oh, may I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Thank you all. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Okay.
Have a
Good
good
night.
night.
Thank you.
Okay, bye-bye.